man, I tell you what, does it become an explosive play ever? Have you ever seen a tush push become an explosive play?
Does it become a first down or a touchdown?
Yeah, I like explosive play. I like big plays. So I'm not a big tush push guy myself.
Some Lion fans are pointing out this clip of Ben Johnson talking about the tush push and his obsession with explosive plays. Talk about it. Check out Detroit Lions Star playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I don't care about the tush push because it's not an explosive play. I pretty much paraphrase what he said in about 15 seconds. I just care about explosive plays. And now we see why, we have some of the issues that we have. Versus Washington. The game was ended right here. I don't keep bringing this up. I'm going to tell you, the game was ended when they went empty set on 3rd and 1. That's all you need to know. What he seen was the defense creeping up to the line. You know what I'm saying? And he was going to go over the top. They was looking for explosive plays. There's an obsession there with explosive plays. When he called run plays, he wants them to be explosive. At the end of the day, everything is all successful NFL offenses, aren't explosive. The Patriots, they made history dinking and dacking. Yeah, I'm going to call it dinking and dacking Prescott. That's what they did. And I think Goff is in that same frame that Brady was in at the time. That's who he is. He's an intermediate, medium to short, thrower. That's where he thrives at. Reading defenses, option routes, finding, your receiver finding the soft spot, St. Brown in the defense, and then, getting the ball in your playmaker's hand and they make explosive plays where they just pick up first downs. You just think and dack it down the field. And for, Ben Johnson, all the trick plays and the reverses and, all this, that's what he thrives on. He wants explosive plays. He calls short play, short plays, and a lot of times his playmakers in Detroit was able to make it to explosive plays, whether it was Gibbs, Montgomery, St. Brown, J-Mo, Khalif, Tim Patrick, they was able to do some things with yards after the catch. But, you kind of understand the train of thought now. Now, the interesting thing about it is John Morton is saying the same thing. What he say? I want between 7 to 10 explosive plays a game. Pro Football Focus, they basically, or it was him saying that, I think it might be Pro Football Focus, 10 yards, 10 plus rushing yards is explosive play. And I think they said even 15 to 20 or 15 or 20 yards through the air is explosive play. And yes, you want to be explosive. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to get those chunk plays. But guess what? Sometimes you just got to keep, what Carolina said, keep pounding. No Diddy, no Kanye, no Harvey Weinstein. You got to just keep chipping away. And then sometimes you break those explosive plays. So he has an obsession with explosive plays. And, when you put that, with a particular quarterback, or particular, players who, may not be ready for that, that may be an issue. How much was Dan Campbell holding him back from being more and more explosive? And I believe, he has an obsession with throwing the football. I've said it. Sometimes he's too smart for his own good. He really believes to throw to open up the run. I don't like that. That's what a lot of offensive coordinators are doing. They're throwing to open up the run. Now you're seeing the shift with Derrick Henry, with Saquon Barkley, with Jahmyr Gibbs. You know what I'm saying? Even with Ashton Jeanty coming into the league, you know what I'm saying? You're starting to see a shift. You're starting to see that shift. What? Might as well, give it to this guy. You're starting to see that shift. Even in Buffalo, he's starting to give it to James Cook a little bit more, So, they are looking for these explosive plays, but can't be obsessed. If you're able to get 5 yards every play, guess what? That's good enough for a first down every two downs. You eat the clock up. Sometimes you use those little grinded out plays where you hand the whams and them slams up the middle and them powers. Use those plays to, play action, or use those plays to bring the defense to the line. Then you get those explosive plays. But what he likes to do is, use the pass to open up the run. And if you don't have a quarterback that can take care of the football, that can make the right decision, there's an obsession there. And so the dismiss the Kush push was wild. The Tush push, it's an effective play, like the reporter said. Get first downs and get touchdowns. Is it explosive play? No. Does it score 6? Does it keep the possession alive? Does it give you 4 downs? It gives you 4 downs. If you get in third and short, guess what? If I throw it and we get an incompletion, or we get, or the play, or we get stuffed, guess what? I can go into the tush push and get 4 more fucking downs. So I actually personally love to play. People must learn to stop it. Well, I don't really care about it because I care about explosive plays. Now you kind of seeing his train of thought. If it ain't a chunk play, that ain't what we doing. Everything we doing is to set up a chunk play. It ain't everything we ain't doing to score 6. That's not what it is. Now, the more and more you let somebody talk, in Detroit didn't talk as much because he was the offensive coordinator. Now you let him talk. Now y'all able to hear what I've been seeing. Like I said, a lot of people need to hear it to believe it, right? Hear it to come out the person's mouth. And that could be deceptive sometimes because motherfuckers lie, right? Me personally, I see it. You don't have to say shit. I see it. I can process that in my head and see what he's doing. I'm like, man, this. And I said, and you got the Bears fans. Well, Ben Johnson is living rent free, and like, no, like, nigga, before y'all even got him, I was saying this shit in San Francisco. People forget there were everybody forget the play before St. Brown. Now, before Josh Reynolds dropped that ball in the NFC Championship game a couple seasons ago. He too smart for his own good. What did he do? He lined St. Brown up in the backfield and handed it to him on 3rd and short. Can't make this shit up. I have a problem with the field goal because the field goal kicker was Cheeks. Actually, was Cheeks all year. He was so inconsistent. Like a fucking 50-yard field goal. Wasn't a gimme, right? I had a problem with that handoff to St. Brown. I can see if you fake handed off and then, he went on a delayed route but he won explosive plays. Sometimes he's too smart for his own good. So now, the thing about it is, will he be successful? I think he will. But the question here is how much Dan Campbell is reeling him in. That's the question. How much is Dan Campbell reeling him in and forcing him to run the ball? And one thing about going to Chicago before they get that retractable dome, if you ain't gonna run the football, you're gonna have a long fucking you're not gonna win in Chicago. You gotta run the football. But thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Next subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance, get notifications. We go live and drop video. Financially, want to support the channel, Cash App, $CJ Good 313, Venmo CJ Good 313, PayPal link description. Appreciate the love and support. Peace.